Hey guys, hey, good afternoon. Come on in, grab a seat at the table. How are you guys? How are you? Come on in. I'm here today as part of the Crafty Bunch Sunday Crafter's Choice event, and my shirt's all funky. I don't know. Have you ever had that happen? You just look at yourself and all of a sudden you're like, girl, you got a problem. You got a problem you need to fix. Hi, I'm Cheryl, Mama P, Mama P's Crafty Creations, and today it's Crafter's Choice. And this crafter's had a hard time making a choice. So we're going to have some fun, and we're going to start with one thing and we may wind up somewhere else. But I'm glad you're here. I hope that you can come sit down and relax a little bit this Sunday afternoon. And let's just do some creating and some chatting and some hanging out. Up after me in the Crafty Bunch is Mary, and you're going to want to see her. Mary is so much fun. I just love it. All Things with Mary is her page. And she's always doing something fun and funky, and she can check paint like nobody I've ever seen. Hey, Leslie, how are you? Good to see you. And I love to watch her. So thank you, Miss Angie, for getting me sprinkled over. You're listening while driving. I do that a lot, Capri. I do that a whole lot. Now, I can't decide what kind of drink I'm in the mood for today, so I have both. So we'll see if I drink one or spill one or how that happens. So I got an old Diet Pepsi and some cold coffee. So I don't know what that'll tell you, but we'll see how the day goes, right? So if you've been watching or hanging around, I hope that you've gotten to see Michelle Hill and I. Hi, Veronica. How are you, sweet lady? Do our Advent gift exchange. And every day we have been opening a little gift from each other. Today was day 8. Thank you, Veronica. And it was that amazing little book. And I want to share a little bit of that little book with you. I forgot to get it out, but I'm never far from that box of goodies. So this was my gift today. Are you, Capri? It is so sweet. I wish we had thought about it, hey, Judy, a long time ago. But it has really, really been a sweet thing. Thank you, Capri. I'm glad to know you're not driving and texting or typing in. But this little book was called Gold Dust. Oh, I didn't flip my camera. Hi, Brenda. How are you? Let me do that real quick. It'll just take a second. Hello. Hey, Rita. How are you? But since we're going to look at a book, it'll be easier. Hey, Kim. This is this tiny little book. And look, I don't have very big hands. But I just want you to appreciate how little it is. But it is an English book of devotions. Here is the inscription in it. And hi, Anne. And it was translated from the French. And it's called Gold Dust, a collection of golden counsels for the sanctification of daily life. That is a mouthful. It was translated and abridged from the French, and that's how it got its name, because it had to be adjusted. The little bits of gold had to be adjusted. Hey, Terry, how are you? But this is what the text looks like inside. It is just absolutely amazing. Amazing. I don't know if you could appreciate, it has just a little bit. Hey, Vera, how are you? There you can see it. It has kind of a metallic thing on here. Judy, we just met through Facebook. That's how we became friends. You know how it is. You have mutual friends and you guys run into each other. Hey, Debbie Fritz, here on these things. And hey, Ruth. And one day, Michelle shot me a message with a question and a conversation started and it grew into a friendship. So I have never met her face to face. It would be awesome to get to do that. But I love this little book. I just think it is so sweet. And I'm going to want to use it, and it's going to be one of those hard things to use. So anyway, I wanted to show you guys that in some detail. It's got a tiny little cross in the bottom, and the type is so tiny. I wanted to read to you, but I'm afraid I can't. If I put my glasses on, I can't read it. And yeah. Okay, I'm going to read this, and I didn't read it in advance. It's kind of funny. It's just this tiniest little bit here, and it follows over to the second page over here. And it says, "This is my heaviest cross. The rest are light in comparison. Circumstances change, temptations diminish, troubles lessen." Are you ready? but those people who trouble or offend us are an ever-present source of irritation. That's not what I expected to read. That's not what I expected, but isn't that sweet? Okay. But yesterday, my gift from Michelle was this lovely bunch of beauty right here. And you know, I'm in the process of working on these 2 journals, right? We did this one with the hardcover from the dictionary cover, and I have just sewn pages in it. And then we have the same papers, but in a soft cover model. And so, hi, Cindy. So we're ready to start making some embellishments for our books. And I thought this is the perfect stuff to use a little bit of. So I know that Michelle and I plan to create together, hey, Sue, after the holidays are over and use some of these things, but I'm going to start early and use a little bit of this today because this stuff is just little scraps. Now, I asked Michelle, but I haven't heard back from her. Hi, Anne. She sells what she calls tidbit kits, which are just some of these little bits from her paper bin and her fabric bin. So if you're interested, after we're done, you can probably hunt up her little shop and see if some are in there. So let's do a few little clusters. And then I've really been itching to make some tassels or little tassel angels. And so I have that stuff pulled out too, because I just couldn't decide. Sunday afternoons are tough, you know? Hey, Angela, how are you? Because I'm usually not very focused as a crafter on the weekends. So, all right. So in my little delicious pile here, there is a lot of some paper. We have some ledger and some book page and some music. And so we have lots of pieces that we can use for a base for some little things. And so I'm going to grab, hi, Patsy, how are you? Oh, it's so good to see you. Hi, Lori, Karen, hello. I'm going to pick through the papers for some of the heavier weight. This is a pretty decent weight piece here. And we're going to use it for a base, because I just said a heavier piece of that. Thank you for congratulating Jenna. What a fun time. You know, she is a remarkable young woman. She always has been. But she said something so impressive about finishing this college degree. So my daughter, Jenna is her name. She is Adeline's mama, graduated with her master's degree yesterday. She has done it all online. Hi, Sharon, through the University of Arkansas State University. Sorry, I got to get it right. Arkansas State University. Hey, Patsy, I'm so glad you're here. And we went down so she could walk in her ceremony yesterday. And it was so cool to get to be there. But I'm so proud of her. She said nobody in our family blinked when she graduated high school. You know, that's just, we always tell our kids not to get too awful excited about your high school graduation. That's really only the start of your life. Hey, Mimi. And then she said nobody even really blinked much when she got her bachelor's. That was just easy. She lived on campus, you know, she had the whole college experience and graduated with her bachelor's degree. She said, but her master's degree, hi, Dana, Merry Christmas to you. Now, that was an accomplishment that she could claim as her own because it hasn't been easy. She got married and had a baby. She's worked full-time the entire time she's worked on her master's degree. And she really felt like this was the first accomplishment educationally that she claimed as her own, you know, that she really strove for. So it was important for her to get to walk across the stage and claim that diploma. And I was so thrilled to get to be with her because she and I had not had any quality time alone in years. We could not remember the last time that just her and I had that kind of an amount of time together. So you know how it is when your kids get a little bit bigger. You talk to them in motion when they're doing other things. Okay, so I'm going to take just a few pieces of this heavier paper. I pulled a few out, and I'm just going to tear some pieces of it, and we're going to use it as a base, and we're going to build some little prettiness with this. I got out some buttons. Becky, does that jar look familiar to you? It should. And let's just see what we can put together that will add to our book in a little bit. So it was super fun, but man, that's a long drive. It was from Fayetteville. Oh my goodness, we were in Jonesboro. That was the campus that we reported to for her graduation. And it's about a 6.5 hour drive from our home down there and back. So we left Friday at like 12:30 noonish time and got there about 9 o'clock with stops. And we found a little place where we could shop a little bit just to stretch our legs out. And yeah, went to bed, got up, sat at graduation, and then started the long trek back home. So it was the Numb Buns tour of Missouri and Arkansas. That's what it was. Okay, so I'm going to just pick through these really lovely fabrics. And Michelle, you know, I love her color style. Cindy, thank you for being here. I hope you'll come back often and hang around. You live in Van Buren. Well, Patsy, we spent our whole life down near the Branson, Missouri area. So I was halfway to your house, Capri. I'm not coming on, not this time. So I love all these colors. Now, these kind of surprised me in here. Yeah, it's a great accomplishment. And the joy is now she never has to go to school anymore unless she wants to. When you're a teacher in Missouri, you kind of have to continuing education to maintain your licensures and all of your teacher credentials and to go up on the pay scale, all that stuff. And now she doesn't have to do that anymore. She can school if she feels like it. And how cool is that? Okay, I know I want to make some long elements to put in our book, so I want to work with this one long ways. And I think this one, and then there's 2 more pieces of that same paper. So I think we'll just stick with them as the base. Oh, it's rainy in North Carolina. We have a little bit of sun today, but we have been begging for some sun for a while around here. And then since all of these, this one has a tiny bit of looks like coffee stain on it. I want to add some words. And this little bit of paper has that handwriting on it. And I'm going to try to snatch that right out of there. Right out of there. My sister lived in North Carolina, Cindy, and we made trips over there quite often. She lived in Winston-Salem, was her home. And then we would go we would visit her for a bit. Thank you. And then we would go to the coast. And go to the coast a few days and then come back by her house again. At the time, we had 3 young children, and, you know, that's kind of enough for any family to put up with you. You come in for a few days, have a nice visit, and then get out of their hair for a few days and let them recover from the big family group. And then afterwards, you can come back by again, and we'll be good. So I love this. The other piece of this that I tossed down so nonchalantly was like the sentiment off of a card. Look, this says April Fool. I don't know. Hello, how are you? I was just watching you. I loved your sweater and your pom-poms. How fun. North Myrtle Beach. Oh my gosh, pouring down rain. We've been to Myrtle Beach several times. My other sister lived in South Carolina, and I used to go visit her. Okay, let's take ooh. You know, when you have a pile of goodness like this, every time you look, you see something. This little bit says, fit for a king. I think we're going to tear that out. It was so much fun, Danette. I thought it was so much fun. And I'm not going to, it's an advertising piece, and I'm not going to try to keep any of that advertising. Now, you see me making a mess over here already. That's the story of it. That's the story. And I'm going to just take this and put it at the very bottom here because I just think that's really fun. And if we cover it up a little bit, I can forgive myself for that too. Okay, so we've got a handwritten bit. We've got a little type. Let's get a little bit of music. So I always like to look and see if there's any words in the music. This had to be Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus. Yep. And this one line says needs Jesus. So, hey, Robin, how are you? So I'm just going to pull off a little bit of music. Again, sometimes you don't even know the words are on there, but I do. And sometimes I think you just even see things through you never intended. So let's put this little bit of that here. And now we have one more. And let's just see. Got lots of book page to choose from. Oh, I love the color of this one. Well, Patsy, they do. Junk journals, you have to have, you don't have to. I take that completely back. You could make a junk journal with 4 or 5 elements, but once you kind of get into it, you wind up with 1,000 elements, and you use, you know, itty bitty pieces of them. And so you have a whole lot of stuff that you use a whole little bit of a time. You live in Lumberton, North Carolina. Oh, I always thought North Carolina was the perfect state. We would come out of the mountains and hit there in the Asheville area, and you could just watch the landscape go from the mountains to the hills to the flats when you got to the coast. And I just always thought it was the best, really, the best. Now, my sister was there, and that made it all the better, too. But loved it. And in South Carolina, where my sister lived, it was equally stunning. Equally stunning. Now, this one, there's no particular word on here I like, so I'm going to run it sideways. I'm going to make this kind of piece, whatever it is, kind of start this way. And so the words going not in the direction make them less readable. Hey, Miss Jenny, how are you today? How are you doing? Not too far for sure. Oh, snow. Are you kidding? Oh my gosh. I don't mean this in a mean way, but you can keep all that snow. It's rare for you. You enjoy it. We haven't had much snow here to talk about, but we've had it. Now, I'm watching my Chiefs play a little bit over there, and they're either brilliant or they're not, and I'm afraid they're going to go not on me. Okay, and then I have all of these beautiful little textile tidbits. That's what Michelle calls them, little tidbit kits. And that's kind of what this is. I was so excited to see it. There is a piece of a quilt here. You see that? It's even got all the fun, funky layers and the beautiful colors. And I think we might we? I don't know. We might. I think we are. I think we're going to just mount this whole thing right up here at the top of this. And I'm going to set it here because I might want it to be the prominent thing on the top. So I may not want to get too carried away. And we may come in with a little bit more text. There's some numbers here, some money numbers that was printed on this little thing. You got all your presents wrapped up. I have a little stack of presents to wrap up today on the table. Not on the table. I'm at the table. They're on the bed. Boring. Oh, and I need to do that. I really do need to finish that up today. On Tuesday or so, my college boy will be home. Depends on his work schedule. He may come in tomorrow or Tuesday. And then Wednesday, I have a daughter who lives out of the area, and she will be here. So I will not be live for any long lives at all for a while once they all start getting here. So definitely after Wednesday, I am scheduled to be live this Wednesday. I will still be posting my little reels and shorts, but I probably won't be live until toward the end of the month because the family will all be here. Okay, let's see. Do we need more paper? I think we need more something in the Fit for a King. And I love this, the way it tore. Do you see? Oops, sorry. How that tore, and we have this thin spot. So let's try to take a little piece of it. I miss you guys. I really do. But, you know, it's precious time. We will have lots of activity. On the 23rd is when all of our kids will come. We call it Sibling Christmas. They draw names. We have 6 kids, and 2 of them are married. So 8 adultish, older kids. And you only want to know when my next auction is. I just bought some more stuff in the last week or so. It's going to be after the first of the year. There's just no way. If I get the opportunity, I may try to post a few items just in the subscriber group page, you know, that thing. But yeah, I'm sorry about that because I am way behind on those things. All right, so I kind of want a little more body to things, so I'm just fiddling. There's nothing to really explain. You just take little bits and you look, and when something says, ooh, you put it on there. Put it in there. This one has the word flying. Back here has the word, grip. I don't know. There's a number, the 129 page. There's a beautiful little blank bit. So you don't even have to be able to read it. Well, it's hard. It's hard. You want to do all the things. I want to do all the things, be all the things, accomplish everything. But yeah, after Wednesday, like I said, I'll still be posting my daily things. This was a little bit of a sheet hem, but I just love the way it looks. And so I'm looking to see if there's a piece that just is crying out for that. I don't know if there is or not. Hey, Pat, how are you? How are you? Maybe it, oh yeah. So you just move them around, and all of a sudden I set it here on this one, and I set it up doubled up, and I just really like the way that looks. So normally I would use some Fabri-Tac for it, but Fabri-Tac takes time, and so I'm just going to use a little hot glue. As long as what you're putting it on, as long as your base is thick enough, hot glue works just fine for these things. Oh, thank you for saying that, Christina. You're so sweet. Yeah, there'll always be lots of replays. Lots of replays. So I just tucked this down right there in that corner, and the glue strings are sticking it to me. I thought about grabbing my stapler, Lisa, and I didn't grab it when I sat down today. I grabbed 8,000 supplies, but no stapler. Look at this lovely little thing. I love, love, love it. It needs a very good spot. And I'm a little funky. I happen to really, really love this piece. And let's see. Oh, yeah. It's going to just tear nicely, nicely for us. And I think we'll just kind of bunch it up. Aren't they pretty, Martha? I tell ya. And I think we're going to just bunch this up and kind of just stick it right here with this little pink spot. With the glue strings, dragging it everywhere. So I'm going to put a little glue on top of there. And I've got it bunched in my fingers, but that doesn't mean it's all going to stay bunched the way I want it. So bunch it in your fingers, and then like this little, it does definitely look like a 1970s dress. So you can see the little bottom of that didn't stick. So now that I got it mostly bunched on there, I can just put a little bit of glue right in there and just pinch that up. Okay. So that's all we're doing. We're just making little bitty bits of fun. That's what they are. They're just fun. Okay, now this one also kind of calls for something long and drapey. So I'm looking in my pile here for something that might be kind of long and drapey. Look at this beautiful piece of dress here. Okay, this one that we've glued the stuff on, I'm gonna set it over here. Christina, I just love little touches like this that go into a journal. I really do. And I don't have any of my sewing stuff in here, or I would consider sewing these with the fabric bits especially. I love this little bit of plain blue, and I think we just might. It doesn't want to rip, so we'll just give it a little cut and a fuzz. It is fun, isn't it, Judy? I just, well, things, but I'm telling you guys, if you think and you want to do some journaling or bookmaking, don't think you have to have a pile. When I very first started making a few books, I had very, very little. And you can make so much. Go to the Dollar Tree and get you one roll of their little cotton crocheted ribbon. You know what I mean? We've all seen it. We've all used it. And cut it in little bits and color it some. Color it with a little bit of paint. Oh no, is it tied up? Oh, and now my Chiefs are tied up again. Wow. They had a huge lead. Like I said, they're either brilliant or they're not. So this one has such a sweet little bit of blue in it. And it is really funky. It is really funky. So let's see. I don't think I'm going to get that torn. Oh, I did. Hey, look at me go. And I think we'll just take just the littlest bit of that, and maybe we'll bunch it long ways and just add it. Can you guys see? It's so little. But I think we've got this little bit down here, and I think we'll put a little bit up here, and then I think we'll hold it all together with some little buttons. Hi, Kendra. How is your day going? So I'm just going to put a little dot of glue, and I'm just going to put that wadded up middle in here. The Chiefs won. That's not done yet. Is it? Oh, they did win. Oh, okay. Sorry. See, I wasn't watching. Yeah, it's a different game now. Well, good. We can all relax. The world can go on. The Chiefs didn't lose 3 in a row, which they have never done with Pat Mahomes on the roster. So, whew, okay. There we go. Okay. And this one, I'm going to set this aside now because the next thing we're going to go to after we get the fabric bits on. So we did the paper bits down. And now we're doing some fabric bits down, and then we're going to come back over it with some decorations, let's say. That's where we're going to add our buttons or those little things. I also pulled out my vintage jewelry tray, but I think it's too big for these. Okay, this one, all I ever put on there was the music. So I'm just grabbing a little bit of book page just for something different. And I'm going to glue that down here on this little corner. And then this is just beautiful. And then we're just going to run this across the top here. But I think underneath it, I think we'll revisit a little touch. Look at this green. Looks terrible against my yellow shirt. It really is a lovely green. Trust me on that. I think we'll put a little bit of that in the corner. I'm going to get it to rip. Yeah. So I'm just taking, so what I was saying about the Dollar Tree ribbon is just take that, cut it into pieces, keep some natural, take a little bit of it and coffee stain it. And by that, I mean, when you finish your morning coffee and you're done with it, throw a piece of lace into it and let it sit a little while. Don't rinse it out too much because it'll come out of some fabrics. Give it a little squeeze. Oh gosh, you're brittle. And then you've got some that is coffee stained. And then take yourself some acrylic paint. You can use acrylic paint. You can use markers. You can just use a washable Crayola marker. Get a little bit of the lace. Get you a little bit and try it. Get it a little bit damp and color it with the markers, and those colors will bleed. Okay, so don't get, I want you to create, and I don't want you to get so hung up on not having all the stuff that you don't get to the creating, because you just don't need too much stuff. Have fun. Cut it up. Take that same ribbon and cut it in lengthwise so you get some little narrow bits, and just do it. You'll be so glad you did. You'll be so glad you did. I'm really loving this longer piece here, but there's too much of it for what we want to do, because I don't want to cover the whole thing, but I want a little bit, and I love that this is hanging off over here. And since we're using some color, there was just this little snippet here. Now, you all have watched me struggle with my brittle. Did the cashew work in a regular, like, peanut brittle recipe? Because my pecans never did work while I was doing a regular brittle recipe. It made me really sad. I gave up on them. I just flat gave up. Okay, I cut that, and now I don't like it. I think it's too heavy, and I don't want to tear it up again. So I'm just going to set it aside and look for a different piece. Look for a different piece. Yes, Capri, the same kind of thing. Hey, Jeanette, how are you, dear? I know these fabrics because I took Michelle's workshop on dyeing fabrics, which is still available and super amazing. And I know that she hand dyed all of these, and I appreciate them. Okay, I'm tearing this one up. We are going to get so much mileage out of this little tiny piece here of fabric. But I love the colors. So I think we're going to go with that and to really mix it up, because these are two different eras. For a long, long shot, they are so different. I think we're just going to go a little fabric wild on this one. And let's just do it. Let's just put it on there. Quit talking about it, Cheryl, and stick it on the paper. Okay. So we're going to put this, and we're going to let it just go where it wants to go. We're not going to force it. We're just not. I'm going to glue it to the table, but we're not going to force it where it doesn't want to go. We're just, okay. This one has a couple of, oh, it has, I should have looked at that. It's got another layer in here. See how it's opening up? So I need to glue it together is what we're going to do. We're not going to, I just don't want it flip-flopping. Just a little hair of glue. And then we've got this piece, or we have this piece. I think we're going to go with this one. Okay. We're just going to get that laid down like that. And then we're going to bridge the gap of the two by putting this little bit right through the middle. And normally I might gather that up a little bit more, but I think we're going to put a little row of buttons. Hey, Linda, how are you? If you've never watched Miss Linda's page, Creations by Linda RM, you got to watch her paint. Watching people paint is so relaxing. Now watching myself paint is not so relaxing. It's not my gift. Okay, so now we have, do we have them all? We have this one. Yep, we have 4 little beautiful tidbitty tags here. Okay, now if you're looking at these and one of the things that catches your eye is that you think they're too, that the words are too, you can take just a second and take a little bit of any plain color paint. This one is one I've been using. It's oatmeal and it's folk art chalk. And I would just put a little bit of this in a tray and put a little bit of water in it and really kind of thin it down, and you can whitewash it. So I'm not super crazy about how bold these numbers over here are standing out. And so that would be a way that you could just kind of go over it. I don't have any water sitting here. I could also use my coffee, believe it or not, for a little coffee stain. Okay. But I just have this paint, and I'm just going to take the tiniest bit on my finger. Or you guys, this is like sloppy crafting here because I don't have anything sitting here. I'm taking, watch this. Here's my coffee. I'm going to take my other finger and dip it in the coffee, and I'm going to rub the two together. Now I have 2 wet fingers with thin paint and coffee mixed together. And I'm just going to lightly use my fingers and just kind of glaze over that text that I thought was a little much. See, very, very little is happening. Now, if you want to drink your coffee, don't go back in for a second dip, right? But I still have just a little tiny bit on my fingers, and I don't want to, I'm not getting up to wipe my hands or wash my fingers. So you can, just that simple, take anything like that and just calm your stuff down. Whatever you have handy. If you're drinking water, great. If you're drinking coffee, hey, Monica, welcome in. Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay, so that's just a little extra hint. Okay, so I've got these 4. Now look, I created 4 whole tags using nothing but the little tidbits that came in that little envelope from Michelle, and we still have all of this left. So with one piece of paper out of a book, go read a book. Don't read a book. That's not what I said. Read a book. Read a book is good for you. Read the good book. It's really good for you. Read a book. Everybody's got a book sitting around their house somewhere that they have not read in 100 years and are never going to read. Go snatch you a couple of pages out of it. It's all you need to get started. Okay, because we did, and this is all we used. We could probably make 100 of these out of this little collection of stuff. Find an old cloth, a piece of clothing that you're never going to wear again, an old shirt, an old cotton shirt, one of your husband's old work shirts, and rip it up. And you can do the same staining technique with a cotton shirt fabric that you would do with that ribbon, okay? You don't need all the stuff. You just need to use a little bit of stuff. Okay, so here is a little button jar. I have several jars like this that are full of assorted doodads, I call them. This is a one that Miss Becky gave to me when we were at that great big swap. And so it just has a selection of little goodnesses in it. But I'm after some buttons. So we're gonna dig down a little bit and get down to some buttons. And they need to be fairly small buttons because we have fairly small tags. Although I love a big button, so I could go totally off the rails here and just do a giant button. You never know. Okay, so we're just pouring out a bunch of buttons, and then I'm gonna pick through the buttons and just choose, you know, a selection. I'm not matching them yet. This one is going to be perfect. See the little bit of the green it's picking up? And I'm just going to pull out a few buttons. Now, if you don't like to use buttons that don't have thread in them, my recommendation is that you sit and you thread a ton of buttons, because when I get to this point of my crafting, I don't want to stop and thread a needle and put strings and buttons, and so I don't. I think this one's too big for today, but I think this button is so beautiful. See all of that. I just absolutely love that one. Okay, so we have a few more we can choose from here, and let's just get a look. I also in here have some tiny strips of washi tape rolls that are just super thin, and we may need a little bit of that today. Okay. This button won't work for today. Do you see how thick that is? Christina Martin, isn't that pink button just amazing? Hey, Judy, but look at the size. This one is too much. It's not for today. I love that button. It's not for today. But we've got some, pull out my washi tapes here because we might need them. Oop, there's another little bit of fabric and paper. Put in there. Okay, so we have created 4 little tags. I know, isn't it it's a monster one. And like I said, you just don't need much. Okay, I'm gonna set all that here, and I'm gonna dig a hole. There's a little snowman button, just if we really, big button needs a snowman. Well, the big button would almost make a snowman all on his own. Okay, so we pulled out a few different ones, and we have our 4 tags here. We don't need the poker chip. And then we just kind of want to do the same thing we did before. We've kind of got our tags in the direction they're going, and we just are going to look. I think this big pink one would actually go on here. I think it might. It's got a thing on it, and I don't know that I have my cutters. Ooh, I do. Well, I have these ginormous toenail clippers. Will they work? Talk about using what you got. Just cut that off, and I think this one has to go. It has to, you guys. Look at that. I think that's just perfect. Okay, and again, I'm going to use my hot glue because for these kind of things it works just fine. For a button, you can sew your buttons on, you can put them on however you want to. Thank you, Paula, for sprinkling it. Oh, thank you for the stars. That is so nice. I don't know if you guys know this, but giving stars is about one of the very best ways you can support your favorite creators here. It is one of the avenues that we can generate a little income on this platform, and it is one of the best returns of investment that you can do. That is a gorgeous pink button. Probably gonna wish we had that to put on an article of clothing or something. And then this one could use just a little something in this corner, and I don't know if it needs a little tiny bit of fabric, just another little tiny bit of pink fabric. Let's see if we can just rip a tiny I love ripping old fabric. And And I think it does. I think it needs a little gathered bit of fabric just on this little corner. And then I think it may need one more little button in that little gathered. So I love to do that. You see, I just took the straight bit and put a little bit of glue on and gathered it. Oh, good. Good. I'm so glad Sue loves it. And you can just gather that up with your fingers and make like a flower shape. Look at that blue button I just saw. And then I think it just needs a little, it needs just a little button. This one is a tiny button, but I love it. Ripping fabric makes me happy. Sometimes at the end of a really bad day, I like to just grab me a bunch of fabric and rip it into little 1-inch strips. You're always going to use the 1-inch strips, and some days you just need to rip some material. Okay, so there we go. I'm happy with this one. We added the little bit of pink. We have this. It's blank on the back so that this can be glued right to a page if that's what we want to do. We can attach a paper clip back here if we decide we want to put it on this way. It could just be something that slides in through a little belly band. I don't want to finish that decision off now. I want to add it to my book, and then we'll figure out when we're ready to add it exactly how we want to attach it. So there we have one. And this one, I'm thinking that maybe just a tiny bit of the washi tape would be helpful here. There's some black, there's some striped. Maybe that's what we need. Let's just try. The Browns won. Hey, good news. Good news. Okay, so I'm just gonna take a little strip of this striped washi tape just to add a little. You know, sometimes you gotta find what level of done is done for you, and we're all different that way. As much as I loved that little blank part. Okay, I found this button. Can you guys catch the color there? Lisa Kidd, what were you talking about baby girl birth announcements? Would be fun. But I think we may need it. Do we embellish right there, or do we find something to put in this other corner? I kind of lean in here, and I really love the way the shine of that button picks up on there. So it might be really cool. And I don't have anything else that's just screaming blue at me, but that's okay. That's all right. We're just playing. There's a rusty bell in there. That would be all the style if I had that stuff pulled out. There's a green, but that one is wild. Wild. Okay, so we got this one. We have that one finished. The other one I have slid off somewhere. It's probably in the floor in front of me. You guys do that? Working on something and turn right around and do it? Oh, good. I'm so glad you enjoyed those cookies. That was such a good recipe. The toffee flavor and the caramel corn in them just made them really unique. Okay, here, I don't know. And that one's got a really big shank on it. I don't even know if my toenail clippers are a thing. I really do believe in using what you have. Oh, that flew at me. So I have to cover it. There. Whew. Got it. So I'm kind of really liking this crazy wild green button right there. So let's get that put down. Ooh, piece of button fell out of my hair. Did you see that? It's dangerous, this crafting world. You got to watch all the time. So I do intend to be live sometime tomorrow. I don't have a schedule. And I know I'm scheduled Wednesday in the Crafty Bunch, I believe. And so we'll see. I've got some things to do in the kitchen. I don't know where we'll piddle, but we will piddle. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. I love this part of the process. I like making the little things. Sometimes it's a struggle actually getting them on a project. I so love that one. I think that's a keeper for there. So maybe we need just a little trio of buttons here. I don't think we need the pinks. Maybe just that. Maybe just that. And maybe going sideways, just completely off the norm of it. What do you guys think? I don't know. If it works, don't fix it. Yeah. I think it has to go the other way. So let's just get these stuck down. A reminder to stick with the Crafty Bunch. Miss Mary from All Things with Mary is probably live right now, getting ready for our crossover time. And she's fun. She's just fun. We have so many really fun ladies in the Crafty Bunch. Miss Danette always makes me laugh. Miss Jenny from Rose House Crafts always brightens my day anytime I get to spend time with her. So anytime you've got this afternoon to kind of hang out. So I like this with that. And I think we're going to leave this little square empty because I think this is where we're going to attach this one. If we change our mind, I'm probably going to do something up there when it's time to put it in the book. Anyway, if you can hang around for a little bit with Mary, you will not be sad you did. You will not. Miss Jenny, you crack me up, girl. I don't costume. I do a lot of silly things, but I don't costume. Oh, these are so cool. These are old sales tax tokens. Can you see those if we can get them? And I would love to get one of these. Oh, I think it goes right up there. Never mind, we're not leaving that spot blank. I'm going to put one of these tokens right there. And I'm going to find my fourth tag, which I've done who knows what with, while we sit here. And I'm going to finish it up too. And then I think the next time we get together, punch a hole and throw. Oh, yes. I love to do that. I love that. Here's our little sales tax token. It was just the right touch up there, I think. And once you start collecting the junk will find you. That's my experience. If you decide you want junk journal stuff, it will find you. Okay, guys, I'm going to sign off for now. Go watch Mary. I'll see you sometime tomorrow, probably in the morning. And have a great Sunday. You guys mean so much. Debbie, the swap list is ready to go. Thanks to Miss Jeannie. She helped me out. So, yes, be watching. Thank you, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.